The moment a man steps onto the path of retention, he is often blinded by the promise easy, the whispers of instant confidence, boundless power, razor-sharp clarity, and undeniable attraction. This is the myth. This is the curated highlight reel. Before we go deeper into semen retention mastery, subscribe to this channel and join our Telegram community, link below. You'll get guidance, insights, and exclusive updates designed to accelerate your growth. Stay connected. Your discipline, focus, and transformation begin right here. The reality, the profound and challenging truth that few speak of, is the cost of entry, the pain. Retention does not begin with an explosion of power. It commences with a period of intense discomfort, disorientation, a crushing sense of frustration, and even inexplicable sadness. What is demanded of you is not merely abstinence. It is a fundamental reversal of years of ingrained behavioral programming, a complete rewiring of the neural pathways in your brain, and a relentless pressure on your physical form to adapt to a radically new metabolic reality. When the act of release, the quick, reliable dopamine hit that has served as your go-to stress tranquilizer, is suddenly removed, your brain doesn't just cope, it panics. It has been conditioned for years to demand this constant, easy pleasure. The cessation of that stimulus is interpreted as a crisis. The system fights back. This primal, desperate resistance manifests as the internal chaos that derails so many. The gnawing restlessness, the sudden and sharp irritability, the waves of apathy, or the unexpected plunge into depression that plagues the first few weeks of the journey. Your consciousness is undergoing a profound detox. Your entire psychophysical structure is recalibrating itself from a state of artificial dependency. You have confiscated your mind's favorite escape hatch, and now it is not asking, but screaming for its fix. Understand this clearly. The suffering you feel is not a punishment. It is, in fact, the most vital signal. It is the sound of your entire being initiating a deep, complex healing process. The problem runs far deeper than mere lust or the consumption of digital pleasure. It is fundamentally an addiction to avoidance. Pleasure became your shield against boredom, your mute button for loneliness, your anesthetic for anxiety, and your distraction from legitimate fear. Every time life presented an uncomfortable friction, you defaulted to release because it was the path of least resistance. But when that route is blocked, every buried emotion, every unprocessed trauma, and every deep-seated emptiness you tried to wallpaper over with fleeting sensation presses back to the surface. This is why the initial phase of retention is so brutally painful. You are not just conserving energy, you are finally confronting everything you once fled from. The old ghosts of your past, the unprocessed thoughts, and the hidden emotional wounds demand their reckoning. This turbulent inner storm is the true withdrawal phase, not from the seed, but from the habit of self-avoidance. Many men, perhaps, most relapse here. They are not intrinsically weak, but they are critically unaware of the mechanism at work. They believe they are losing control when, in reality, they are fighting the final battle to finally regain it. Your body and mind are demanding time to stabilize in this new, conserved state. When you cease the monumental waste of your most potent life force, that energy does not simply vanish. It becomes concentrated, a volatile power trapped within your own frame. You will feel this stored force as a peculiar tension in your muscles, a gripping tightness in your chest, or a nervous anxiety buzzing beneath your skin. This is the intelligent movement of your inner system, desperately trying to learn how to channel and redirect this energy upward, toward higher faculties, instead of letting it continually spill out. In essence, you have successfully stopped the leak, but you have not yet acquired the blueprint for harnessing the immense power now stored within. The terrifying, agonizing gap between holding and channeling is where the majority of the early pain resides. The first month of this practice can feel like an internal state of anarchy. Focus becomes fleeting, and you find yourself stranded between emotional extremes, physically exhausted yet mentally wired, seeking peace but plagued by anxiety, striving for discipline but constantly ambushed by temptation. This is the sound of your nervous system rebalancing its scales. Years of chronic overstimulation have decimated your natural dopamine baseline. Your reward system is burnt out. It has been screaming for pleasure so relentlessly that when the silence finally descends, it cannot recognize peace, interprets it as pain. This explains why even the simple, foundational pleasures of life, conversation, exercise, a good meal, lose their luster for a while. It is not true apathy. It is the deep, slow process of your brain repairing its sensitivity to reality. The healing of the reward system is exactly what is experienced as withdrawal, boredom, pervasive irritability, and a crushing lack of motivation. But beneath this profound discomfort, an engine of magnificent power is silently assembling itself. Retention fundamentally compels your body to engage in deep energy recycling. Your core masculine fuel, testosterone, begins to find a more stable, higher equilibrium. Your mental focus starts its slow, arduous journey home. This transformation will not obey a timeline. It responds only to absolute, unwavering consistency, not fleeting motivation. The pain of retention is therefore not evidence of your failure, but the indisputable proof that the healing process has violently commenced. In this initial, fiery stage, you are not meant to feel like an invincible demigod. You are meant to feel profoundly, utterly human, raw, vulnerable, restless, and stripped bare. You are being forced to stand before the unvarnished parts of yourself that the anesthesia of pleasure had long since numbed. Before retention can grant you genuine power, it must first make you shatteringly real. This is the crucial step the majority of aspirants attempt to bypass. They crave power without enduring the cost of pain, confidence devoid of self-scrutiny, and absolute control without the necessary, agonizing awareness. But the enduring truth remains. The pain is the necessary toll. It is the coin you pay to earn back your sovereign energy. You cannot achieve true growth while perpetually seeking comfort. You cannot unlock your deepest potential if you remain tethered to the quicksand of instant pleasure. So, when the practice begins to burn, refuse to interpret it as a sign of failure. Embrace it as the irrefutable evidence that the deepest work is being done. You are purging a lifetime of self-inflicted psychological escape. It is a grueling baptism, but the reward is nothing less than the reclamation of your soul. Once a man has successfully navigated the treacherous shoals of the first painful weeks, the crushing frustration, the relentless internal clamor, the constant, draining temptation, a tectonic shift begins to occur. It is not a sudden, theatrical change, but a quiet, powerful realignment deep within the foundation of his being. The internal chaos slowly starts to resolve itself into a coherent pattern. The initial frustration transforms from a curse into a highly valuable signal. And for the first time in what may be years, he begins to perceive the profound operations occurring beneath the surface layer of his existence. The pain of retention is not a random variable. It is a complex, three-dimensional recalibration, biological, psychological, and spiritual. Every system that was once geared toward rapid, wasteful expenditure is now being forced to learn the art of conservation, redirection, and transformation of life force. Biologically, a profound change takes root. The pattern of constant release had locked the body into a cycle of chronic depletion. The endocrine system was perpetually scrambling to restore a fleeting balance. The brain's dopamine system was in a state of permanent hyperstimulation, and the core masculine fuel, testosterone, was fluctuating wildly. Like an engine running on bad fuel, retention forces a stabilization. Testosterone levels begin their ascent not in a dramatic spike, but a gradual, sustained climb. The brain's dopamine receptors slowly begin to heal, liberating the man from the urgent, constant need for external stimulation, merely to achieve a baseline state of being okay. This healing process is precisely where the dullness and pain reside. As the brain adjusts to a more natural, lower level of dopamine stimulation, the ordinary world feels temporarily muted and unexciting. The instant, artificial thrill is gone. This feeling is not clinical depression. It is a metabolic detox. The man is moving from the artificial buzz of instant pleasure toward the deep, sustainable resonance of natural satisfaction. The pain is the brain's sensor repairing its long-damaged sensitivity to the quiet grandeur of reality. It is akin to a complete system restart after years of running on overload. Everything moves slower, feels heavier, and is quieter. Yet, behind this palpable discomfort, the internal wiring of his being is being perfectly realigned. He is painstakingly teaching his mind how to recognize and appreciate authentic peace once more. Psychologically, the true magnitude of the transformation is revealed. Few men truly grasp the immense amount of mental energy that is relentlessly consumed by sexual fixation. Lust is far more than a physical impulse. It is a mental feedback loop that drains focus, incinerates creativity, and erodes self. When retention begins, this loop is violently interrupted. Initially, the mind will furiously fight this change. It will barrage the consciousness with unwanted images, obsessive memories, and paralyzing fantasies, anything to lure the man back into the comforting gravity of the old cycle. This mental assault is not pure lust. It is the panic of escapism. The subconscious mind is using its most potent bait, trying to tempt the man back to the familiarity of old, destructive patterns. Yet, for the man who resists with unwavering resolve, an almost miraculous shift occurs. The incessant clamor of his thoughts begins to subside. The vast reservoir of mental energy, which was previously fragmented and scattered across endless cravings, begins to flow back to the center of his being. His thinking deepens. He gains the ability to notice subtle details he once completely overlooked. He feels, for the first time, like the true pilot of his own life, not just a helpless passenger. This heightened mental clarity is not simply a byproduct of abstinence. It is the result of profound psychological integration. Retention compels the man to face his deepest impulses, head-on, refusing to run from them. With every day of conservation, he is physically and mentally holding his rawest instinct in his hands, learning to profoundly understand it rather than reflexively obeying it. This is the birthplace of genuine, sovereign control. Spiritually, the deepest evolution unfolds. Men on the long path of retention frequently describe an unshakable feeling of foundational, interior strength. It is not the swagger of arrogance, but the deep, quiet gravity of calm dominance. A perfect alignment between his body, his mind, and his highest purpose. This sublime state is the fruit of energy transmutation. When the life force is conserved, it does not simply dissipate. It transforms. The very same elemental energy that once fueled obsessive lust now begins to flow upward, forcefully fueling drive, unshakable confidence, and clear, compelling vision. The transition, however, is a fiery one. Transformation is never frictionless. It is like an intense fire-refining crude metal. The impurities and dross must first be agonizingly burned away before the pure, unbreakable shape of strength can emerge. The initial, searing pain of retention is the heat of the forge. The resulting, unyielding power is the finished steel. And here, the deepest test of the journey begins. Once the man starts to experience genuine, undeniable improvement, sharper focus, a better mood, sustained energy, the temptation returns in its most insidious form. He feels powerful, and lust, like a master deceiver, cloaks itself as a benign, harmless pleasure. The voice of his old self whispers, "You have earned this. Just one time." This is the final, most cunning trap. The moment he succumbs, all the carefully built-up energy, the momentum, and the spiritual pressure he painstakingly cultivated are violently released, and the entire process of cleansing resets. The initial pain returns, not as a cosmic punishment, but because his system has violently swung from a state of sustained abundance back into the shock of rapid depletion. It is not merely the physical essence that is lost. It is the precious momentum. It is the profound discipline, the vital tension, and the quiet spiritual pressure he so diligently built up. But once the nature of this mechanism is truly understood, the pain loses its suffocating power, for it is seen for what it truly is: growth. Retention pain is philosophically and biologically identical to the muscle soreness felt after an intensely challenging workout. It is the undeniable proof that a structure which was once weak is being powerfully reinforced. The primary reason most men fail to evolve beyond this stage is that they fatally mistake transformation for suffering. They assume that because the process is not comfortable, something must be profoundly wrong. But this is the fundamental law of strength. It is never comfortable. It is always costly. You cannot forge resilience while simultaneously chasing ease. You cannot awaken the deep, sovereign masculine power while remaining a slave to temporary pleasure. Every time the man endures the consuming discomfort, every time he resists the desperate, primal urge, he is literally and physically rewiring his deepest instincts. He is issuing an undeniable command to his physical vessel: I am in control, not the other way around. This is why the pain of retention transcends the physical and the mental. It is a profound evolutionary act. It is the lower nature of man fighting for its dominance, and the higher, conscious self resolutely refusing to kneel. When this realization crystallizes, the pain ceases to feel like pain. It becomes sacred purpose. It becomes the forge of self-creation, because the man is no longer merely retaining. He is rebuilding his very identity from the foundation up. And when this profound rebuilding is complete, power is not a prize to be sought, but the inevitable, natural consequence. For the man who perseveres through the fire, the internal tension, and the raw, constant temptation, the pain does not disappear. It transforms into an unshakable inner force. That burning intensity in his gut, the coiled tension in his body, the anxiety that once drove him back to self-destruction, all slowly settle into a profound, heavy, and deeply grounded internal state. It is the gravity of self-control, not the shallow power over others, but the absolute, sovereign command over his own being. Every moment of inspired vision, every creative act, every superhuman burst of determination, he springs from this same, concentrated, primal energy. When he stops leaking it, his entire system automatically begins the process of upward redirection. His nervous system stabilizes completely. His hormonal chemistry finds a deep balance. His confidence is no longer loud and performative, but quiet and absolute. He no longer needs external attention to feel valuable, nor does he chase fleeting validation, because he possesses a truth that most men will never know: the profound, internal mastery of self. But the most profound transformation is the inner stillness. Retention is not merely about energy or attraction. It is the ultimate pursuit of inner peace. When the life force is no longer hemorrhaging through the wound of lust, the emotional state ceases its wild, reactive swinging between extremes. He becomes perfectly centered. He faced the initial, crushing pain, endured the brutal discomfort, and has now fully integrated that shadow. What was once his greatest weakness has now been transmutated into his most formidable strength. Every time he resisted the urge, he forged a link in the chain of discipline. Every time he felt the pain and remained resolutely present with it, he built an unyielding, emotional fortress. Every time he confronted the shadow of his lust instead of feeding it, he achieved mastery. These small, conscious moments of control compound relentlessly, building an entirely new identity. He becomes the rare kind of man who does not flee from difficulty, who refuses to seek cheap comfort at the first sign of friction, and who never allows his base impulses to dictate his highest actions. This kind of man is powerful because he has power. He does not seek external validation, yet people are undeniably drawn to his orbit. He speaks deliberately, and when he does, others listen with rapt attention. He requires no proof of his worth. His sheer, grounded presence speaks for itself. When this transmutation is truly achieved, he ceases to fight lust and begins to transform it. He stops viewing it as an internal curse and starts wielding it as a fundamental source of power. This is the moment retention stops being a painful struggle. It becomes natural and integrated, sovereign lifestyle, not a punishing challenge. Therefore, hold the line. Stay absolutely focused on your highest vision. Never fear the pain. Study it, learn from it, and command it, because it is the only currency with which you can purchase the kind of power that is eternal and unshakable. And when you finally feel that calm, potent strength rise within you, when lust can no longer dictate your path, and your energy moves with the laser precision of purpose, you will finally know the true meaning of the practice. It was never a punishment. It was the most rigorous, sacred preparation. You are never losing anything. You are relentlessly and triumphantly becoming someone. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. If you get incredible energy from video, write senior in comments section. If you have other queries, then ask in comments. We'd love to hear from you.